Coach and the Casual. We're back in studio. We're previewing UFC 316. And, we're going to preview all the personalities around the UFC today. And we're going to maybe talk a little crap about people. I don't know. So tune in. This one's going to be one of our tea episodes. What's up, Kyle? You ready to dish some tea?
Gee. Well, I'll tell you, first of all, I'm extremely uncomfortable coming into the studio today. I don't like looking at men's bare feet.
Oh, yeah?
And that was a real, I walked in, I was like, okay, we can't shoot
Well,
today.
I mean, because you have a foot fetish. We all know that. So
Yeah, and it's hard to do this episode.
And I have nice feet.
Because I'm wearing sweatpants today.
And I got really nice feet, bro.
Yeah, you do, actually.
Yeah, I know.
But
I used to paint them when I was on The Ultimate Fighter. And, Brock Lesnar was getting pissed when I was beating all of his guys. Because, everyone on my team lost except me on the show. And I kept on beating all of Brock. He's like, you can't beat this guy. He paints his freaking toenails. And then they, flash to me. And I'm like, dude, what's up?
You seen Brock Lesnar's daughter, by the way?
Unit, bro.
Jeez.
Unit, dude.
She'd run. I don't know if she could never make weight. What's the highest women's division? 135? No, not in the UFC.
Oh, not in the UFC. Yeah, the UFC, I think it's 145.
45.
Yeah, so bantam or
she's got to be 200 pounds.
Yeah, dude. I think though they should get a lightweight 155 because you get Kayla Harris who's on the UFC 316 and not Jenna, what's her name? Pena, Juliana. They're fighting, but Kayla Harrison cuts a lot of weight. She would be a 55er, and she was a 55er in PFL. And
what was Cyborg cutting down from? She wanted a 55 division?
Yeah, she wanted one too because she was also another one. I was like, dude, might as well. It's kind of equivalent to what would a woman's heavyweight division. Same with Amanda Nunes. She was cutting a lot of weight to make 45, and maybe they just don't want.
They were talking about her coming back recently.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. Oh wait, Amanda.
Kayla wants her, right?
Yeah, Kayla wants her to come back, and then they showed her something at the fights, and she kind of, I don't know if she's coming back, but they kind of hyped it up. And
who's her wife? Also a fighter?
I forget her name. She's not as good a fighter as her, but yeah, I remember being on the.
Who would you say? I mean, we have this discussion every time, but who would you say is a truly exciting women's fighter? Amanda had a strong.
Amanda Nunes.
Holly Holm.
No, Holly Holm.
She had great striking.
Yeah, it was more two pitter-patter. Well, I like someone like Amanda.
Zhang Wei Li.
Yeah, Zhang Wei Li. She's fun to watch. Zhang Wei Li. And then Rose. When Rose was in her prime, she was so fun to watch just because, she's crying at the weigh-ins.
Not an exciting fighter. Exciting fighter to watch, though.
Yeah. She's not. Yeah, I guess once she got in there, she has, one of the worst fights ever in the history.
I don't even realize she's fighting. I'm just
yeah. You're just there for the show.
Just hoping for top mount.
Yeah. Just get on, take her down. Yeah. I think it's hard to find exciting. Too many. It gets exciting, but it's wild. In bare knuckle, it's almost crazier the women fights because they don't have that one punch knockout, so they're just grinding each other. So every time there's a woman fight at BKFC, it's kind of brutal.
Well, that one chick is she not the champion anymore?
I'm not sure exactly.
Black chick?
The one that broke both of her hands.
Both of her hands when she was in Salt Lake City.
And then the other girl's face was like a meat grinder. And you're like, oh my gosh, dude.
Speaking of BKFC, I don't know. Is it public news about Dom yet or what?
I mean, it's going to be public here soon. Our boy Dom, he was on last week. He just loves the mota, man. He likes
the marijuana, I'll tell you.
You know what? Free him, dude. He's a freaking political prisoner, dude. The guy likes to smoke weed. And so it's his third fail, probably. I mean, it hasn't been official yet. It's undisclosed yet, but he did have some in his system, so they had to send it off. And if it's his third one, I think he's suspended for a long time. Which they did to Nick Diaz, bro. They killed Nick Diaz's prime by suspending him for 4 years in 34 to 38.
But if so here's the argument, right? Of course, take out any politics aside about if weed should be legal, if blah, blah, blah. If there's rules to a game and you violate the rules, do you think that's grounds for suspension? Try and remove any of your views about weed.
Well, I've been suspended for weed one time, and the problem was that I wasn't high while I was fighting. I was in Vegas. I took some edibles the week of, because my stomach was hurting, and it helped, and then just didn't leave my system in time, and I was suspended for 9 months because of it. So to me, I think it's the problem is weed is such a like the test is so delayed, so it's kind of like, and now it's legal in all these places and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like this weird, and honestly, like as a fighter, I mean, you do use it medically. I mean, whether people know it or not, I don't believe there's really anything other than medical marijuana. Like even if you're smoking to get high, you're smoking to medically escape whatever your issues are. While like, I don't know, like what they want to, it's the same thing like the police department. They can't smoke weed, but they just go and drink, and they're like, Brown washes it down.
But that's the discussion here, right? Is like it's like the 12-6 elbow.
Yeah.
It was an arbitrary rule. It was a stupid rule because originally
Yeah.
they saw him breaking blocks, and so they were like, "Oh, that's really dangerous." But a rule nonetheless.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And I agree with you. I think the problem though lies in like the residual that weed stays in the system. You know what I mean? So you're getting people suspended for something that's not even like you know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
my
I mean
biggest thing.
the point of the rule, right, is so that they're not high during the fight, which dulls their pain.
Yeah.
But you could say the argument of it's like taking Adderall, right?
Yeah.
Is like I can train better when I'm not feeling the pain, so therefore I get an advantage.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, but I my only argument is like they just need to do like a cotton swab or somehow figure out a test that's more.
But what I'm saying is it is performance, even though like it dulls you out, right? I mean, I'm
not disagreeing. Like it's a rule, so it's against the rule to fight high. Okay, that's fine with me.
But do you think there's part of the rule, the thought process is like I can obviously I don't smoke weed, I don't do any weed or anything like that, so I don't know.
Do
but
weed, yeah.
I don't do the marijuana stuff.
I don't do the weed.
But don't you think when you're experiencing less pain while training, you can train more? Therefore, it is performance enhancing?
Yeah, no, and I'm not disagreeing like whether it's performance enhancing or not. I think the problem comes with whether you're fighting high or not, and people are getting suspended for residual amounts of weed in their system. I don't know if Dom was high that night or what.
Sorry, let me explain this better. Let's say a guy you're going to fight.
Yeah.
The first 3-4 weeks of his training camp,
Yeah.
he's taking growth hormone.
Yeah.
Right? But then he stops the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You'd still be pissed that he did it the first 4 weeks because he got better training, or EPO.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
He got better training.
No, I get what you're saying, and like
so it's not even about fighting on the stuff. It's about getting good training early.
Getting good training and getting the recovery benefits, But then, like again, like to me, that's the same as like, well, then you can't take ibuprofen and sit in an ice bath because those are just the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sitting in an ice bath is the same idea and like boost your testosterone. While like my thing is the fight night, like what's actually happening. Training to me is like training. Doesn't matter. Like someone could do as many steroids as they want and they still will train like a wuss and not be able to push themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then if you're fighting a TJ, he's not going to train like a wuss and it's going to put him over the edge.
Yeah. I mean, that he was BPO'd up, steroided up, and he was fighting that night. And so like it is a really gray area, I would say. But I just don't like to see people getting suspended for something that was like not in their system. Like when I got suspended, I was not high that night. Like I had an edible days before because I was not feeling good. And I was like, well, I should have just took some random drug that prescribed by the doctor. You know what I mean? And there's even like you can't take certain allergy medicines and stuff like that are on the list.
Is there a lot of, because Dana obviously wishes he could control the commission better, but he can't. Right?
Yeah.
He's had to move cards. I don't know how much you know about it, but do you feel like commissions are dated in their policy? And do you think there's any amount of favoritism? I mean, what's your feelings on commissions? As a fighter and as a coach.
It's a tough one because like this is the most frustrating part is the commissions are all separate. You know what I mean? So you have to work with like a different commission every state you fight in. And then we're lucky here in the state of Utah, Scott Bowler's our head commissioner, and he's really a fighter first, so he's always trying to change it. But even in himself, it's a government job. Like he only has so much, like, you know what I mean? Like every year he can make these little minute changes that need to, and it's kind of like the same as like any other government entity. It just kind of, I don't know. It's like you don't like it, you don't dislike it. It's like people that say, I don't like the police. You're like, well, that's dumb. Like you need cops. Like we need the commission. I would not want to fight without one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even like people, well, the UFC controls it. that sounds scarier, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? And there's a reason why there's like a fail safe. Like you can't be a promoter, you can't be a manager, and you can't be a coach. You have to choose one of those three. You can't be multiple of those because, you know, when boxing was going on, you'd have your coach, manager / promoter all, you know.
Do you think there should be rules? This actually goes back 2 weeks to the Bilal thing.
Yeah.
But do you think there should be rules about having one agent have two of his fighters fight?
Yeah, that's starting to get a little bit weird. But then again, like, as long as he's letting them fight, I think that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like there's anything that's being pushed that's, like, not a fair fight. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're never – you're not seeing – I guess maybe I haven't seen it yet, but, like, you're not seeing a manager be like, oh, put both my guys in, you know, like, compared to the next guy in line. I think it's kind of happens where –
But, like, it could cause ethical problems of I'm an agent. I signed two guys.
Yeah.
And I really want to boost this guy, and this guy shouldn't fight this guy.
Yeah.
But I want to boost this guy, so I put them together.
Yeah. You know, that's a big problem, and that's actually a reason why me and Benji teamed up and started our own management company to help manage fighters, because neither one of us, it's our full-time job, and you do get that. You'll see that happening. Managers will use you as a pawn. Like, you know, oh, you want me to put this guy in, then I'll give you this guy and this guy and that guy. Because a manager is really trying to make a relationship with the promoter, right? And then the fighter's those are two completely separate relationships. And so, like, me and Benji were like, well, let's just try to help fighters pick their best, like what's the best for each fighter compared to what's best for the management company. You know what I mean? Like, and so you do see that. And that is the problem with this game. And you do got to play the game. Like, you can't not have a manager. There's so many fighters that try to not have a manager because they don't want to pay him. But there's that old saying, like, you know, a lawyer that represents himself has a fool for a client. Yeah. Because it's like, you can't negotiate for yourself. Like, because the UFC is going to come back and say, well, you lost this, and you got to, well, this, you know what I mean? And, like, they don't want to talk to you. They want to talk to someone else and make it unemotional. Yeah. And that's one thing I've really learned is, like, doing business, you do need, you're a business dude. Like, you need the right people in the right positions. Same with a fighter. It's like a fighter wants to have a career. Well, he needs a manager that's going to help him build a career. Probably tell him no on certain fights, tell him yes, you know, push him when he needs to. While a coach, to me, his job is to be like, oh, I don't care who we're fighting. You could fight Francis Ngannou, and I'm going to try to come up with a game plan to beat him, you know?
Well, I mean, that's on the subject of agents. And, you know, obviously, you know, Bilal's his guy is Ali, and you were represented by Ali. Ali has always been a big presence, and even – especially with Conor, a big personality in the sport.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier before the podcast, but there's a lot of big personalities in the sport. The UFC creates a lot of business outside of just the fights, right?
Well, and to me, that's why you don't see these other organizations ever competing with the UFC. You know, like, I mean, the PFL has been trying to make it where it's just like fair league, and it's like, oh, you win to move, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, you're a casual pro. Do you care about that, or do you want to?
No, it's always about, like, I care more about. It's like that one guy you said came over from PFL.
Oh yeah.
You were talking about him a couple of weeks ago that he should have the title shot. What's his name?
Aaron Pico.
Yeah, I'd never heard of him before.
Yeah, never heard of him.
Because I'm sure he's not some big. I bet he's a very respectful, great fighter.
Yeah,
but he's not a Chael Sonnen.
He's not talking shit. Yeah.
And I think I've always said personality is probably one of the most. I mean, Chael got into a bunch of fights that he didn't deserve to be in.
Yeah. What do you mean? Chael's never lost.
Yeah, never
lost. That's
Colby.
Uncle Chael's the greatest fighter to ever live on this
Colby
planet.
was in a bunch of fights that he didn't.
He's the one that broke John Jones's toe. You know that, right?
On his face, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
On getting taken down.
Yeah. But who are some of the other big personalities in the sport?
I mean, right now it's Nina.
Nina's
definitely. Sean Strickland's one of the personalities of the sport.
So Nina is an interesting one. I actually don't really like her. I mean, she's kind of annoying to me. But maybe it's because I'm like, why does she get to be a personality in this sport?
Maybe because you're a bigot.
Yeah.
You hate women.
Yeah, that might be. It's a very strong possibility. You seen all those videos of, like, her, like grinding on Alex Maheda, and her husband's just, like, right next to her, like.
Yeah, you know. But honestly, off camera, she's a really cool person. Her husband was really cool, and like,
Oh, they came up to the pit or what?
yeah, they came out to the pit when Sean and Alex were all up in town, and like I've got to like sit and like actually see off camera and like watch her, and so like I get what she's doing. You know what I mean? Like she's not trying to be like an interviewer. She's not trying to be. She just wants to be a personality, and like to me, I think it's a necessary. That's why the UFC does it. Like they need personalities, like just like we've been watching Corey Sandhagen. Have you been seeing his evolution?
I saw Corey. Did you see that Aljo was in the airport with Henry?
Yeah.
And then Sandhagen was in the same airport?
Yeah, that was so random. But Corey's now like, he has like this on-running joke on Instagram where he like hired a guy that's like teaches him how to be cool. And he's like sitting there like this, and he's like, open your mouth.
Yeah.
Hanging it more. And then he's like, then Corey's like, man, I feel like I look like an idiot. And the guy's like, you are. That's why you need me to tell you how to look cool. And it's like pretty funny. And you're like, so I think that's what Nina kind of does for some fighters is like,
well, it's like,
and honestly though, Sean Strickland owes a lot to Nina.
Well, even like it's like when we've had every time we have big fighters on our show, they get to be a lot more human because we're just two dudes.
Yeah, and we're just chatting, and then like once we start making fun of them, then it's so funny because you've noticed it like when the camera turns on, they turn into this like their personality completely changes. My favorite's like Glover, like on the show when I asked him if he shit at his gym, he's like, do I shit at the gym? Like offended. Then the cameras turn off. He's like, oh yeah, I tell the guys don't shit at my gym, and like laughing about it. And I was like, bro, do that on camera. But it's everyone's not a sociopath like us.
I wonder why. I mean, that's got to be a tough part. I mean, you were got some media attention while you were in the UFC, but to live your life knowing that saying the wrong thing could change like we could say whatever. Honestly, I mean, as long as we don't say something egregious and cancelable, and our day just goes on. But their whole life and paycheck is based on what they say.
Well, and that's one of the best parts about The Ultimate Fighter. Like when you go through The Ultimate Fighter, like I was 22, like literally I was a child. They put you in this, Ultimate Fighter, and then like every day you're doing interviews, and like I hate to ruin the sausage, but there's no such thing as reality TV. It's this created scenario, and the only real part is like people's reactions. Everything in it's fake. Like they steal your stuff, and they hide it in other people's stuff, so then create riot. You know what I mean? And it's like this whole like, and if there's a chance to create drama, they'll change everything around to create drama. So like the second time, you really learn like what you say matters, and like because if you say the wrong word, then all of a sudden now they're gonna drama, like let's run with it. So I think like being on Tough taught me a lot of that, and you see that like it's like Michael Chiesa, I wouldn't say he's necessarily a big personality, right? But since he was on The Ultimate Fighter, he's learned how to speak, and now he's got like a TV job. He talks. He's an analyst, and he's not like this giant personality, but he can talk on camera.
His fight career is really skyrocketing.
Yeah. Well, he's fighting our boy.
Young up-and-comer.
He's
bone
fighting.
crusher.
Yeah, the Court McGee. Him and Court are going at
Fight
it.
with Chiesa.
Yeah. That's a good fight, bro. I like when they do that, though. Like, put a couple, like...
Old dogs
that we've loved watching together. You know what I mean? Like, don't put an old dog versus a young dog. Like, I hate seeing that. Like, you watch that shit, and you're like, oh, man.
Yeah, somebody's getting sacrificed.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's Nina. What's your thoughts on Schmo?
On the Schmo, I mean...
I've told you, I've had the most uncomfortable scenario in my life. I was with Henry at that PFL, and I guess Schmo had done him dirty or something. And so they start getting into it, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to step over here. And Henry's like, no, stay here. You should hear this.
Really?
I was like, I don't want to hear this.
What were they arguing about?
Because I think they'd shot a show together. They had a podcast together or something.
Yeah.
And then, like, some guy was talking shit to Henry, and then the Schmo sided with him.
Oh, really?
And so Henry was like, I guess screw you then, because he was wrong or what. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Henry made me sit there and listen to him just like,
argue.
And Schmo like, I'm really sorry. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be here with this. This is so uncomfortable.
No, listen.
You want me to see what it would look like to...
I feel like I would do the other way, though. If one of these fighters came up and said some shit like that to me, I'd be like, do something about it, bitch.
Well, you would maybe say that to Henry. You wouldn't say that to who's a big boy?
Any of them, bro. He's scared of
He was there
heavyweights.
with John Jones, you liar.
Yeah, I'd be like, he's so
Speaking of John Jones, is he supposed to
I'd
get
be like,
stripped?
oh, I'm suing you.
Is he supposed to get stripped, you think, or what?
Bro, he should be stripped at this point.
I don't
Don't
know.
you think, man? It's kind of like
The thing is, every fighting promotion is better when their heavyweights are big.
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder, Gypsy King, all these guys being big in the sport.
that's
made
what people
boxing
love
better.
about Aspinall is he's a fucking giant of dude, you know?
So
And
the
fast.
heavyweight division is slow. It's dead.
Yeah. And John's kind of not doing it any favors,
He
bro.
doesn't want to. I don't
Yeah,
think.
and like I get where like the company's like, well, the Tom Aspinall John Jones fight would be such a big payday. Put it in New York, you know what I mean? Be like,
Didn't he ask for like $30 million?
which I mean, dude, like at what point do you think he deserves that kind of money? How can these boxers get it? And he's literally a bigger name than any boxer right now.
Yeah, but isn't it how the money flows? The thing is, they got to pay everybody else on the card.
Yeah, but they're still not paying everyone else. Come on, like that's their excuse. They're like, oh, we got to pay everyone else the 10 and 10 and the 20 and 20.
But you got to think too, like it's like in the NFL. Every year, a quarterback gets the largest contract in
yeah,
history.
and that's what I'm saying. I think it's time that John Jones starts getting. He needs
No,
a long.
but what I'm saying is, if he gets a big contract, well, then after that, they're gonna have to pay a bigger contract.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why they're trying to stop it.
Yeah,
but
they're
then,
trying to stop.
But then he's
a
playing his
breakthrough.
cards. He's right now in Thailand filming some reality Russian. Have you seen this
I
show?
haven't seen it.
Oh, bro, it's so funny because Jake's out there at Shields with him, and I was messaging Jake. He's like, "We might have to leave tomorrow. The Russian mob's after us." And then,
I heard about it.
and then
I
like
think
literally,
they-
there's a guy out there. Have you seen that chokes people out cold? He like snuck up on Aljo the season before and choked Aljo out cold.
Oh, I didn't know
And then apparently he was trying to do it to like Nate Diaz, and then Jake was right there. You can see the whole fight. You see it all line. And then Jake starts breaking him up. Next thing you know, it flashes. Jake's getting jumped by like 5 guys. And then you see Jake talking about it. And then Jake gets up and he's like breaking it down. He's like, so at this point, I was thinking, I better calm things down because there's about 100 other Russian and Dagestanis outside, and there's only like 8 of those guys with them. And he's like, after I got jumped, I had to go up and be like, hey guys, let's just not. He's like, I wanted just to keep swinging, but he's like, all right, guys, we don't want to get killed by the 100 Dagestanis waiting outside.
I don't know.
And they're on a private island.
These guys going to Russia would be. I would never do that.
Well, they're in Thailand.
Oh,
But even then, bro, I've heard Thailand is 100% controlled by Russian mobs because it's one of the few countries that allow Russian tourism in. Like a lot of places are very strict because of the Russian mobs come in and do shit just like what they're doing in Thailand. So now I've heard things that people are like, man, you don't want to go to Thailand. Like it's all the bars, everything's run by Russian mobs now. And that's why like, you know, we got to make sure we get those Russians out of the UFC and start beating their asses as Americans. That's why Aaron Pico, Patchy Mix, you know?
Patchy Mix. We were talking about that before. Who is Patchy Mix?
Oh, dude. Patchy Mix. Okay, that's a great sign by the UFC. This is like one of the first times I've seen UFC actually acquire talent in a long time. You know what I mean? Since the days of them signing ONE FC fighters, you know? And like they've always, we don't want to acquire it. But Patchy Mix is literally like considered one of the top bantamweights in the world. I've rolled with him, bro. He's a nightmare to roll with. Like, he's a good wrestler. He's a good striker. But his jiu-jitsu is really unique. So I'm really excited to see him, like, what he's going to do. You know what I mean? His first fight is, what's his name? Let me look. I just had it up.
Mario Batista.
Oh, yeah, Batista, who just beat Jose, right? Or was that, he had one more fight since then.
Batista, yeah, he fought Aldo last.
Yeah, and he beat Aldo in that kind of boring decision here in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
But the thing is like...
held him against the
Yeah,
fence.
just held him against the fence. And that's how he wins. But, dude, I don't think he's going to be able to do that. And I want to see Patchy beat Batista and then challenge Merab. I think he's actually... Because he's got the nastiest guillotine I've ever, like, been one of them. And he does it really uniquely. And he's got really good scrambles. So I think Merab, he's a nightmare matchup for Merab. The only thing is Merab's so big and strong. And I've seen him spar at Extreme. It's a good close fight, you know?
Who, Patchy?
Yeah.
Or you've seen those two?
Yeah, I've seen those two. They spar every once in a while. They'll train together. Maybe not anymore now, but they used to train together because one was in Bellator and one was in the UFC.
Yeah.
And then like I've seen it. I've heard things about it, so I think it would be a really good fight. You know.
Well, let's for time. Let's have that jump us straight to 316 then. Is there anything on the undercard worth looking at?
Nah, I mean,
Nothing really.
316 is actually going to be a big card. It's out in Jersey.
yeah, it's supposed to be.
Okay,
Pretty
so what's
big.
the first fight of the main card?
Let me pull it up.
Vicente Luque
Oh, cool.
and Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did me and you ever work with Vicente?
No, you only have.
Yeah, he's one of the coolest dudes because he was supposed to fight Nick, and then Nick was out there lighting those fires,
Yeah.
and then that fight got pulled, and then Vicente went and fought who? As a replacement for Nick Diaz, he fought somebody else.
Yeah, he fought. Who did he fight? Stover?
Was that when he fought Buckley? Or how long?
No, he won. He won by submission. By the way, Buckley is going to beat the shit out of
Themba
Kamaru.
Garimbo.
You think it's
Oh,
yeah,
my
bro.
God.
I think Buckley beat the shit out
I
of Kamaru.
cannot believe that Kamaru accepted that fight.
I mean, you're not gonna take Buckley down and hold him down. And Buckley's looking good, bro. His
I
last
think he's
fight.
going to be the champion.
Yeah, he's been putting work in, and everyone thought he was a striker, but he's a wrestler.
Yeah,
wrestler
I
first.
can't believe that Kamaru took that.
I really like his coach.
That's
too.
a clear case of the UFC feeding a veteran to a guy Kamaru.
Yeah, and like old dude. I mean, Kamaru's old, man. He can barely
Kamaru
walk down.
should-
And that's what his name keeps saying. He's like, what? Kamaru, like, every time he says anything, Buckley goes online. He's like, bro, you can't even walk downstairs.
I can't believe he took that fight. But who did Vicente fight last?
Themba Garimbo.
Yeah,
Out of
and he
Extreme.
beat him.
Yeah.
He beat him by submission, right?
Yeah, kind of handled him. Yeah, the undercard, the only one we got Walker on there. He's just fun to watch, but he's fighting some Russian dude. He's probably going to get taken down.
Who's Walker?
Johnny Walker, the
Oh,
one that
he's
does all the
so-
crazy
he's
flips
one
and
of the- yeah, no,
shit.
Johnny Walker.
And I forget the guy's name. He's fighting like Marzada.
I'm not
Remember
seeing
when
that on
me and
this
you had
card,
that bet?
Ramsey.
Remember when me and you had that bet, and then he got
So, yeah.
He
And
got
I had to
DQ'd.
take him.
He
And I
got-
was like, dang it, dude.
no, but he got like or it was gonna be a DQ because he's like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "The desert."
Yeah, but he was fighting Onklov, right?
Yeah.
He's not the champ, so I mean that's fair. Okay, and then once you get to the main card, the first one is Gaslam Pfeiffer, right?
No. Main card first one was Vicente Luque.
Oh yeah, Luque because they had to bump his ass up. That's right. And then Holland. I mean, that's a tough fight. Who do you have?
I think Holland is just here for the paycheck. I don't think he wants anything.
Yeah.
Vicente. So I was in Miami with Vicente with Henry and Kelvin, and he wants to be the champ. He's very he wants to be.
Gaslam?
No, Vicente Luque.
Oh really?
He's not talking like a veteran. He's talking like a guy who's wants to do something.
Like he's like, I'm in this fight still.
And he's very focused.
but isn't he kind of old?
I think so, but he's super dialed. They were trying to get him to drink tequila, and he's like, "Nah, man, I don't drink."
Really?
He's just very dialed. That guy.
I'm trying to find the odds. What are the odds on that then?
For which fight?
The
Luque.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, they're all old because the card keeps moving around. That's the thing.
Kevin Holland's 2-1 favorite.
Really?
Whoa, dude. Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Wait, 2-1 Holland over
Yeah,
Vince?
Holland's
minus 220.
But Holland's bigger. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And
Lankier.
Lique's moving up or whatever. So it's like,
It's 185.
I think so, right?
Welterweight 170.
Oh, 170. Oh, so Holland's cutting back
Holland's
down.
gonna come down,
Bro, I think Holland's going to get knocked out, to be honest.
or at least submitted. I mean, he's so big and sprawling, but Luque's strong.
Yeah, no, I think Luque, I would go, dang.
Plus 200.
Dude, that's a good bet. If
that's
you're
money
out there
bet.
putting money on, that's a good one, dude.
What is he? Plus what?
180.
Plus 180. Yeah, that's good money.
180?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'm going to put that one on.
Okay.
There's undercard Chaos Williams versus Uris Medic, if you want to talk about
No,
that.
Medic just pulled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Medic, he had a sinus infection. He's on antibiotics. He said he can't.
Oh, yeah.
He hasn't been able to shake
Maybe
it.
some Vagisil.
Yeah.
Okay, then next fight is the Batista-Patchy mix.
What are the odds on that one?
Patchy mix is minus 175, and Mario Batista is plus 145.
I mean, dude, I just think Patchy wins that. It's tough to say because, when guys come in from outside of the UFC, you never know. But Patchy's been, that's the other what if. Patchy trains, and even if you're training with the top level guys, actually fighting against those guys is different. You know what I mean? Being able to step into the cage. So I think that's a kind of what if factor for Patchy. But I think stylistically, if you watch those two guys fight, I would, put money on Patchy on that one.
First fight in the UFC. Batista's ranked number 10 in the bantamweight division.
Yeah,
so
but Patchy's had big fights. You
Yeah,
know what I
he's-
mean? He was the Bellator champ, and he was in Bellator for a long time.
he
And
fought Sergio Pettis
Yeah.
and Magomedov.
the Patricio Pitbull, I think he fought both brothers at one point, didn't he?
I don't know.
Or maybe the smaller one, the 45er. And Patchy was the 2-weight champ at one point. He was a 35 and 45 champ in Bellator. So, I mean, I think he's just fought tougher guy. Like, I think he's – well, I don't know, because Batista's fought tough-ass dudes in the UFC. So, it's like, well, that one's kind of a what if, but if I'm betting on it, I'm definitely going Patchy.
I don't think Patchy's fought any of the Pitbull brothers.
Oh, really?
No.
All right, next one. Your boy, Kevin Gastelum versus Joe Pfeiffer. I think Gastelum's plus 300 right now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pfeiffer's negative 400.
I'm going to put 5 G's on Kelvin.
Really?
Kelvin is. I was just at dinner with him like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, he made a good point. We were all talking about it. How he's been in this fight camp forever because it was supposed to happen in Mexico.
Yeah.
Pfeiffer got sick, he says, but it was just out.
Now he hates Mexico because he
Yeah.
got sick there one
This guy's
time.
putting the rasa on his
I was
back.
like, you know what? I agree. I was sick in Amsterdam one time, and I think
I hate Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was syphilis.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, that was I went to one of the shops there and got too many psychedelics.
but Kelvin, dude, like he just wants to move on from this camp because it's been forever, and it's not even about like being locked down in a lifestyle of being eating healthy and all those things because you know Kelvin doesn't want to eat healthy. But it's like
That's why you guys are great friends. You
Yeah.
know, like you want to get some ice cream? You're like, wait, we didn't have dessert. Well, we didn't have ice
we
cream.
didn't have second dessert.
Yeah, second dessert.
But he's just, I think he would have beat him up in Mexico
Ooh, you think so?
because Kelvin had been there for a month and Joe got there the week of.
Yeah, but Pfeiffer's nasty, bro. And he doesn't get tired. And the problem with Pfeiffer, with Gastelum, Pfeiffer doesn't do a lot. He's only going to throw some straight punches and hard leg kicks.
Yeah, but the thing is, because Kelvin's got a strong jaw.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, I mean, probably out of time.
I would give that to Kevin.
Once Joe realizes that's not going to do it for him, then he's in trouble.
Yeah, but Pfeiffer, he doesn't gas out. If you watch his fights, like he's beats a lot of guys the same way, like 3 rounds of him just throwing hard straights and leg kicks and just walking people down.
You said he's plus what, 300?
Plus 300.
Yeah, I will slam that
Dude,
line.
but him and Vince Like together, maybe?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a big-ass payday.
That'd be a big one.
I don't know, though, bro. That's a tough one. I think I would go Vincent, Like, Patchy, and put on Pfeiffer for the easy parlay.
You go Piper? I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I
I'll
think-
bet you on it.
I think Kelvin.
No, I don't want to do that. Those odds are too shitty.
Plus, you don't want to bet against Kelvin.
Yeah, I don't want to bet against
Friend of the
Calvin.
show.
Yeah, he's a good dude. You know?
All right, I do think.
You know, me and Calvin go way back. You know that, right?
Yeah.
He, like, when he first came out, like, he wasn't even in the UFC, I think, yet. And he was cornering someone out here at one of our local shows. And me and him like, hey, you know, we have some hobbies in common. And next thing you know, we're
Some green hobbies.
some
yeah.
green hobbies in common. Next thing you know, we're BFFs, bro.
Okay, and then it's 2 main events.
Julia Pena, Kayla Harrison.
Snooze.
Snooze. But
I think
Kayla's
I think
negative
Kayla's-
600.
Yeah, Kayla's going to beat her.
Heavy
Up.
favorite.
But, dude, I think that might be the one underdog I might bet on just straight.
What's she plus what? 4?
425. Is that what you have?
450.
415,
I got
yeah.
450, yeah.
450?
Mm-hmm.
On what site?
ESPN.
Oh, dude, here's the thing. On paper, yeah, Kayla's probably going to could just hold her down. But Juliana doesn't get tired. She's been in the UFC a lot longer. Kayla's realistically only fought, like, tomato cans. Like, her whole PFL career was against, like,
So the last one she fought
Moms.
was a former champ, wasn't it?
no,
No,
it was-
Vieira, but she fought Holly Holm before that.
yeah, which is a give me. Holly Holm's on the verge of retirement, can't wrestle. So you're like, oh, here's a world Olympic gold medalist, you know. And even with that, remember, she was getting tired. She kept on taking her down, and she was getting tired and barely got through that. And I'm like, Julia Pena's better on the ground. You know, me and Juliana don't have a good history. We hate each other. I mean, I don't hate her. She hates me, and she's never forgot about it. Because one time she was fighting on a local show here in Showdown, and, like, I didn't know she was yet. Like, she wasn't, like, you know, famous or anything at this point. And she was fighting one of the girls from our gym, and she was wearing a front thong at the weigh-ins, bro. And I went up to my coach, who was at the time was, like, sitting, and was sitting with her coach, who I didn't know at the time. And I was like, dude, look at this chick. She's wearing a front thong, like pussy lips hanging out, everything, dude. It was wild. And like we're down in Orm at a weigh-in, like all these Mormon families are there, like watching, like literally, like I remember Court's little son was there, like,
Oh, nice.
like what is going on? And then like. So then she goes, and apparently, like, her coach said something like, what are you wearing? Like, you know, like, and then she lost that fight and blamed me for that fight. Still to this day. Like, she's tried to fight me before, like, in Vegas. She, like, came up, she's like, I'll fuck you up. And I was like, I'll defend myself. You are a professional fighter that could hurt me. Like, it's not like a chick that's saying that she's going to beat your ass.
But even still, I'd fight a girl. Even if they weren't professionally trained.
Yeah, I would
I'm praying for that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm just praying, dude.
I've always thought, never mind. I'll talk to you about that off camera.
Yeah. But then it was funny because, like, so then since then she's hated me, and then I like became friends with her coach and meet him, and he's like, oh man, she'll hold on to a grudge forever. She'll never like you.
I think Kayla beats her up bad.
But you know, I hate to say it because she doesn't like me, but I think Juliana might have a good, like, her coach is smart, and he's gonna have a great game plan for her, and it's gonna be like probably straight punches and just sprawl and wear Kayla down before she does anything. And I mean, that's my one underdog pick, to be honest.
I don't think
her and Lee K are my two underdogs on this card.
And then main event is Sugar versus Marab.
I mean, he's not jerking off, so maybe he's gonna win.
Marab is going to trash him.
Okay, look at these odds. What do you have on this?
He embarrassed
I
him.
got Marab at minus 320 and Sugar Sean at plus 250.
I think those are too close.
Too close. You think Marab should be bigger, a heavier
Plus
favorite?
500.
Wow.
No.
Or negative 500, I mean.
Well,
and I think he should be.
Marab's going to embarrass him.
Yeah, and then Sean should be a plus 450 around there or something, because, like, bro, and that's what I keep saying. Like, everyone's like, oh, well, Sean's taking it more serious. Marab fought the number one guy, Umar, and beat him. Like, you know, and then the thing is, he's broken 2 toes. Have you seen this?
And he had a cut above or below his eye.
Above or something, yeah. And he keeps posting about it, and Dana gets all
like,
pissed.
Stop it.
Yeah. That's another funny personality is Dana, dude. What do you think about Dana and, like, the company, like, moving forward?
I hope he sticks around. I mean, he can't stick around forever.
I don't think he's going to be around much longer.
I think he's going to be around for another 10 years at least.
He was saying that he wants to find kind of a new front man to kind of merge and take over eventually, but I think with this next new partnership, he's got to be tied in for the next 3 years.
With the new, like, TV deal that they're doing?
That they're going to have.
Do they have any rumors still? Is it Netflix, maybe?
There's
Amazon?
nothing new coming. I think Netflix is the leading person to maybe get it, but they haven't released anything yet.
I would like to see Amazon, I think, because they already have the production to do the live, while Netflix is going to be
lag,
bro. Remember that, Mike Tyson fight, Jake Paul?
But they had a great NFL Christmas stream. Like,
they did?
No problems.
Yeah, Amazon.
Oh, really? And it was flawless, so
They had
maybe
like
they figured it out.
Views. Yeah.
Okay, we're getting close on time. There's a couple things happening with you and the pit.
Oh, dude, our boy Michael Jimbai Dorji, Mongolian Mike, he's making his pro debut in CFSS, Cage Fighting Fury, North Dakota, June 6th. We'll go up there. You can catch him on OnlyFans. The rest of the fight is on on Fight Pass. Okay. So it's a big card. I mean, I've been training this kid since he was a teenager. So, like,
he's actually one of my first classes. He popped my ankle.
Yeah, he popped your ankle. Yeah. And that's luckily he was being nice because he's one of the toughest dudes in our gym. So I'm really excited to put him out there. And, he's like made a big change. Like, he was a little boy when he came to me, and I used to make him spar with all the pro guys like Mitch Ramirez and like Julian and all these guys since he was literally 19, 20. So now he's kind of like big dog. So it's kind of cool to see that progression. And then we have him and then Chris Chu's fighting on that same card. And then basically we got all of our guys are just getting after it. Me and Benji have started a management team. And so all of our guys now, we're trying to get them other places. We're not just fighting on Fierce anymore. We're like so Talon's actually going to be fighting next month in Tough Enough for the title, which will be on Fight Pass Live. And he actually had 2 offers. He had one in New York for another one. So, like, people are starting to notice the pit. Guys in there, it's not just, like, no longer this local, gym. Like, now people are like, all right, let's bring you out here. We had Jordan go fight in some Arizona card, and he took it like on a week's notice and did really well. I ended up getting tired against a wrestler and losing, but they were like, bro, we got to have Pitt boys back. So Pitt's definitely coming up, man. I think you're going to start seeing more of us on bigger cards.
And then retreat.
Oh, this one's going to be fun. So anyone out there that's always wanted to go to Brazil and train jiu-jitsu, and you're like, oh man, I'm scared to go to Brazil alone because I don't want to get robbed or something. You come with us. So we call it Nijum Retreats. Me and my partner, Naldo, he just knocked out Jordan Smith in that BKFC. He's from Manaus, which is this town in the middle of Brazil. And like, that's where this famous gym, like Atom and all these like famous jiu-jitsu gyms are from. And they opened up, these guys have their own like place where they cleared out in the middle of the jungle, like literally, and then put a pool out there, these cool huts, like a jiu-jitsu gym. So we're going to rent it November 8th through the 16th, and you could come down with me and Naldo. We'll train every day. We'll watch fights at the end. Like there's a fight card that happens synonymous with that.
If he's not in the camp, I bet you could get Mota.
Yeah, we probably get Mota to come with us because he'll come down.
He talks to us all the time.
Yeah, and like it'll be a fun time. Like it's literally, and it will do like judo boxing, jiu-jitsu. It's not just like jiu-jitsu.
Where do they find it? How do they sign up?
So if you want to find us, it's Nijum Retreats on Instagram's the easiest way to get a hold of us, or Nijum Retreats, I think .com is like.
I talked to a couple of guys who went to the retreat in Tulum, and it was the time of their life. So
they loved it. Yeah, like your employee Andrew
Yeah.
came with us, and like honestly, it's just fun. Like it's like a purpose to go somewhere and do something with like people, because realistically, like you're not gonna go to Brazil and do jiu-jitsu with your family. Like you're not gonna go be like, hey, you guys wait here for 2 hours while I go train, and then we'll come back. And then it's like kind of like some kids are coming, so some families are coming, and so it's gonna be a really fun treat. And we try to do different locations. Like my goal one day is to go to Dagestan, all these different places.
count me out on the Dagestan one.
2 or 3 years.
You have to fight
Forget
with the
about it.
Ukrainians. Yeah.
We leave you there for 2 or 3 years, then you'll come back, and then you're just a beast.
Cool. Well, 316, it's in the books, guys. It's going to be a big one. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.
I don't think Dagestan could change you.
I would change them.
You would change
They
it.
don't get fucking lazy.
They'd all be eating steak. Like you just show up every day with meat, and they're like, you know what? Let's barbecue.